Alright, as you can see, I have my application generated, I have my app and 3 libraries. Every single app and library contain project.json file. And let's start with apps app project.json file. As you can see in 7th line, you have array of tags, and we can specify tags we want. So for my app, I'm going to use only one tag, type app. Then let's switch to users UI. And once again, let's open project.json. We have tags, and I'm going to add 2 tags, type library and library UI. Next one is users API. Let's open project.json and let's specify type library and library API. And the last one is users HTTP. Let's add tag lib HTTP. So we have our tags configured, but how to use them? So let's configure which tags can be used by another tags. And to do this, we need to open ESLint rc.json file, ESLint configuration. And as you can see, we have a rule called nx/enforce module boundaries. And you can use this ESLint rule to model your architecture. As you can see, we have our depth constraints here. So let's configure the first rule that apps can depend only on libraries. To do this, I'm setting an object with source tag type app, and it only depends on libs with tags type library. So all the projects that have type app can depend only on type lib. And if you're going to have a dependency between one project with type app to another project with type app tag, it will throw an ESLint error. The next rule that we want to specify is that libraries can depend on other libraries. And it will be similar to the rule we have at the moment. So source tag type library, and it can depend only on other type library. And with that simple trick, we say that libraries cannot depend on other apps. So now let's add rules for our library specific tags. So for our library UI, library API, and library HTTP. As you can remember, our library UI can depend only on library HTTP, library API, and other library UI. Then library API can depend only on library HTTP or other library API. And the last one, library HTTP, can depend only on other library HTTP. So let's add it. And as you can see, I decided to ban some external imports. I don't want to let my team to use Angular common HTTP in projects tagged with library UI. So you cannot work around my rules. You cannot just inject Angular common HTTP and use HTTP layer in UI components. As you can imagine, you can model almost every architecture you like. You can have various number of tags, you can have categories of tags as I have my type, so project type tags, I have my library tags. You can create whatever you want and it's going to work. Only thing you need to do later is to configure the rules that your team needs to follow. Okay, so let's test it. Let's say we want to break some rules and we want to import library UI object to library HTTP project. And as you can see in my library UI here, I have a component, users UI component. Let's import it to our users HTTP component and let's check the result. So in my users HTTP component, I'm going to import users UI component. And as you can see, we have that red wave under our import, and it's basically saying that I cannot use this import. To show you more details, I'm going to execute lint command in the command line. Alright, as you can see, I used command yarn nx run many with target lint for all projects. So I basically run all lint commands in the whole monorepo. And we have an error in users HTTP library with message, a project tagged with lib HTTP can only depend on libs tagged with lib HTTP. So our rules work. What's more, please remember that you can control external libraries. So you can ban some libraries from some parts of your application. For example, I banned HTTP, Angular common HTTP in libUI tagged projects. Of course, you can create some exceptions because we always have some exceptions. to create an exception, you can use allow keyword like this, and then set which external libraries are allowed in which tagged project. So I can allow to use Angular Common HTTP in libsui if I want. Tags at first might look like something stupid simple and unnecessary. In fact, this feature in cooperation with ESLint is a powerful tool that makes code organization a lot easier, no matter which architecture you're using.